Hello and welcome back to Ideas Sex, where we take an analytical lens to mysticism and spirituality. My name is Kiara. I am the Mad Witch, here to reveal the secrets of the universe. This outfit had me feeling fancy today, so I am drinking Le Croix, fruity sparkle water, and mulling over the remainder of this astral projection document that was declassified by the CIA. In 2003, the CIA declassified a document that tells us astral projection is real and we live in a hologram. So this video is part 2 of 2. If you haven't seen the first video, definitely don't start here. It's not going to make any gosh darn sense. So start with that video. There. If you have seen the first video, we're going to start with a quick recap of that, and then we will pick up where we left off. So today we're going to be talking about what time and space are and how they can allegedly be transcended. To summarize the last video, reality is holographic, meaning that every individual is encoded with the information of the whole. In our day-to-day lives, most people experience a tiny sliver of that hologram because even though our right brain consciousness can perceive a lot of it, the left brain filters most of it out. However, an ASC, or altered state of consciousness, allows us to access that larger hologram by quieting the chatter of the left brain and tapping into the receptive, holistic right brain. The hemi-sync tapes, developed by Robert Monroe and used in the gateway process, help us achieve this state through a phenomenon called the frequency follow response. So that's where we left off, and today we are picking up right here, where McDonell says, up to this point, our discussion of the gateway process has been relatively simple and easy to understand. So he starts off by insulting our intelligence. Thank you for the vote of confidence, McDonell, but I'm a pleb. Relatively simple. Can you imagine living a life where the idea of us living in a hologram is so commonplace that you just think it's going to be relatively simple for people to understand? Like, I would love to know what this man's shower thoughts are. Now the fun begins! To explain why human consciousness can be brought to transcend the limitations of time and space is the next task which must be addressed. To do this, we must first appreciate what time and space are in order to understand how the dimension that they constitute can be transcended. I swear to God, that's a line from Star Trek. Now he's gonna mess with our ideas about what time and space even are. Physicists define time as a measurement of energy or force in motion. In other words, it is a measurement of change. However, in order for energy to be in motion, it must first be limited in some way within the confines of some sort of vibratory pattern, so that its confinement gives it the capacity for being contained at a specific location which is distinguishable from other locations. And here I thought time was just that ticky-tocky thing on a wall. I get what he's saying, and it's so abstract, and this is why at the beginning of this paper in the last video, he told us that we would need to engage our creative right brain in order to understand a lot of this, and there are a lot of creative leaps involved, but we're gonna try. Okay, what he's basically saying is that time only exists because we can perceive change in our environments. So for example, I'm young and then I'm old, and the change is time, and the vibratory pattern is the meat suit that I have incarnated in. I'm here, and then I'm here because time. The change is my position. The vibratory patterns are the meat suit I've incarnated in, the chair that I'm scooting in, the backdrop. And the reason you perceive time is because my meat suit is scooting a chair in front of a castle wall. That sentence really did just come out of my mouth. Oh, that's another one, a sentence. The change is the inhale before I speak all the way to the final word, to your mother. The vibratory patterns include the movement of my mouth, the shift from syllable to syllable, and the cadence, inflection, and tonality of my voice. But it's all the same energy, right? My meat suit, your meat suit, the chair, my weird dining room, even sound. Same energy, different forms, or as I like to say, one consciousness manifesting as infinite possibilities. So what happens if we take away the forms, right? The vibratory patterns? What's left? Energy, which is not confined, is force without limit, without dimension, without the limits of form. It is infinity. He's talking about the unified energy field. He's talking about consciousness. So the way he wants us to understand time is that it is a dimension. It is a layer of reality where things have form, but it's not the only dimension. In fact, when we step outside of the physical, there's something called the absolute, something vast and formless. So what about space, right? He said transcend time and space. So what is space? That's easy. Space is the same thing as time. That's why we call it space-time. I wish we called it time-space, to be honest. Space-time just sounds like you have work time, you have play time, you have sexy time, and then you have space-time!
Space, go to space. Space.
But back to this idea of energy without form. Energy in this state of inactive infinity is termed by physicists as energy in its absolute state, or simply the absolute. Holy shit. These science people sound so Hindu sometimes, and I don't even think they realize it, right? So basically all he's saying is that beyond space and time, we have this thing called the absolute. Between the absolute and the material universe in which we experience our physical existence are various intervening dimensions to which human consciousness in altered states of being may gain access. Like Narnia? So Monroe calls these focuses, and the idea is that it's not just the physical dimension and the absolute, there's actually layers and layers of other dimensions between us and that formless place. Dimensions like where we go when we sleep, when we die, when we go on a shamanic journey. Achievement of this state of altered consciousness sets the stage for perception of non-time-space dimensions because of an operation of a principle in physics known as Planck's distance. This is an aspect of quantum mechanics which applies to the fact that any oscillating frequency, such as a brainwave, reaches 2 points of complete rest, which constitute the boundaries of each individual oscillation, that is to say movement up or down. An oscillation is just this, right? Anything that makes a wave, brainwave, microwave, radio wave, but if you get down to a small enough level, pretty much everything is doing this. It's like Alan Watts said, the universe is made up of wiggles. You are a wiggle, and the universe is wiggling through you, except he said it in his musky and mischievous British accent, my god. But like McDoodle wants to draw, I can't word. What McDoodle wants to draw our attention to here is this. These 2 points of complete rest. That critical step out of time-space. Oh, see, he says time-space in this document. In most places I've seen space-time, and it always bugs me, but look, McDoodle knows. It's time-space. That critical step out of time-space occurs when the speed of the oscillation drops below Planck's distance. To use the words of Bentov, quantum mechanics tells us that when distances go below Planck's distance, we enter, in effect, a new world. It's a whole new world. Don't know where the f I am. Long story made short, an altered state of consciousness allows us to spend more time in these bands. But when we are here, when we're here in these bands, when we are here, we're not here. You know what I'm saying? We click out of space-time. Hypothetically, what a nice thought. On days when I don't want a human, I can just click out of space-time. All boarding the Nope train to Infinityville. All aboard! Okay, all right, so let's summarize what we've learned so far in both videos, and then we're gonna bring it home by talking about all the magical things McDoodle says we can allegedly do from this out-of-body space. 1. Consciousness is not bound by our conventional notions of time and space. 2. We are each a holographic microcosm of this larger consciousness, and because of that, we can access the information of the whole. 3. Altered states of consciousness allow us to do this. They can help us in transcending space-time to access the intuitive knowledge which the universe offers. And 4, Monroe's hemi-sync tapes are designed to move us into an ASC, an altered state of consciousness, by syncing the left and right hemispheres of our brains and catalyzing an out-of-body experience. Oh my god, can you hear that? That's rain. It just started pouring. I love the summer desert rain. There's something so special about it. Might ruin the audio, but we'll see. I love it, we need it. My rain dance worked. Now, we don't have to be out of body to access information beyond time and space, right? It sounds impressive, accessing information beyond time and space, but this encompasses all of psi phenomena, right? So that would be anything from like common things like divination, right? If you play with tarot cards or runes or something, precognitive dreams, premonition, even really mild things like intuition and gut hunches. This is all about accessing information beyond our conventional notions of time and space. You don't have to be in an out-of-body experience to do this, but McDoodle tells us that it becomes easier to do these things and more efficient when we're already in an out-of-body state. From the altered state of consciousness that McDoodle has been describing to us, he then tells us the different things we can do from this state. And most of them are geared toward helping us obtain practical information or influencing the world in some way. This includes using the state of expanded awareness to solve difficult problems, ranging from personal difficulties to problems in physics, mathematics, philosophy, etc. Patterning, which is basically his word for manifesting, so using our intention to shape the physical world. And it's much more, according to him, it's much more powerful when done from this out-of-body state than it is like, you know, when we're before bed, you're repeating your affirmations or whatever. 3, healing and revitalizing the body through different visualization exercises. Again, this is something that we can practice in the physical world if you look at energy healing, but according to him, it's much more effective when it's done from an out-of-body state. Time travel and remote viewing. And there you have it. That is the cliff notes for this document. Who knows if the CIA ever did anything with this? I will say that several years later, they started Project Stargate, and Project Stargate actually centered on a lot of it was around remote viewing, which is a kind of clairvoyance where people are able to perceive events in faraway places and sometimes even days in advance. And this came about during the Cold War, is when a lot of ESP research was done by the government. And I think that out of all the things studied, remote viewing offers some of the most compelling evidence. It really is its own kind of subculture right now. Check out the Reddit forums. Oh, and if you're not familiar, the Stargate project was an Army unit that brought together the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Army, and the Stanford Research Institute. And it was established at, you guessed it, Fort Meade. What was going on there? I need to know. So that is it for this particular video, but in future videos, we will be diving into related topics. So I would love to share some of what came out of the Stanford Research Institute. It'll be way less abstract than this video. No like creative, crazy mental gymnastics for that. It's just facts. It's just evidence and studies and some really amazing findings. And so we'll be talking about people like Russell Targ, the renowned laser physicist, the renowned psychic Ingo Swann, the psychic policeman Pat Price, and a whole lot more. So if that interests you and you want to tumble a little further down the rabbit hole, do subscribe and join the guild. And in any case, thank you so much for having idea sex with me today. And until next time, stay blessed. At a specific location, which, am I excuse? Excuse me. Oh. That was such a weird sneeze. It was so squeaky.